I never thought I'd be the guy writing one of these, but here we are. My name's Mike, and I've been with Emily for about 5 years now. At first, things seemed perfect. She was smart, beautiful, a little bitchy sometimes, but in a way that was kind of charming. We have a nice life, decent house, good jobs. I served in the army, came back with some scars, not just physical but mental. Combat changed me, and I thought Emily understood that. Or at least I thought she did. Looking back, I probably should have seen the signs. She started acting weird a few months ago, more than usual. Little things, she'd cancel plans last minute, get defensive if I asked where she was going. Her phone was glued to her hand, and when I tried to look at her screen, nothing. She'd flip and say I was being paranoid. But I was. I knew her too well. Something was off, and I was starting to feel like I was losing my grip on reality. Then there were the nights she'd go out after work, saying she was grabbing drinks with her friends. But her stories didn't add up. She'd come home, smelling different, like she'd been somewhere else entirely. I'd ask her, and she'd roll her eyes, call me jealous or possessive. It's none of your business. She snapped one night after I caught her sneaking her phone into her purse when she thought I wasn't looking. That's when I knew I had to pay closer attention. It all came to a head when I decided to check the security camera footage from our house. I wasn't expecting much, just a way to ease my mind. But what I saw that night hit me like a ton of bricks. I still remember staring at the monitor in disbelief. Emily wasn't just sneaking around. She was sneaking out, late at night, to meet someone. The footage showed her entering our garage at around 10 p.m., and I caught a glimpse of a guy. My stomach turned. I didn't recognize him at first, but then I realized it was her therapist, Dr. Martin, the guy who was supposed to be helping me process my trauma from the military. The guy I trusted to help me get through my nightmares and flashbacks. And now I saw them together in the dark, in our garage, like some dirty secret. I couldn't believe it. The safe space I thought I had, my therapy sessions, my private struggles, had basically been turned into another battleground. The betrayal cut deep. I felt anger, confusion, a kind of numbness I didn't understand. I replayed the footage over and over, trying to convince myself I was mistaken, that maybe it was just a coincidence. But no. There they were, clearly meeting up after hours in a restricted area of our own property. I knew I needed to confront her, but I didn't know what I was going to say or how she'd react. I just knew that everything I believed about Emily, about us, was shattering right in front of my eyes. So I sat there in the dark, staring at that screen, feeling like I'd been sucker punched in the gut. My mind was racing. How long had this been going on? How many times had she lied to me? And what the hell was I supposed to do next? I mean, I'm not exactly a guy who handles betrayal well. The betrayal by someone I trusted to help me heal, especially someone I thought was just a professional, made my blood boil. I'd been vulnerable, laying my soul bare to this guy, and it turns out he was just another piece of shit. I knew I couldn't just sweep this under the rug. Whatever her reasons, whatever she told herself, she was cheating with my therapist. My asterisk therapist. That's some next level shit right there. How do you even process that? I didn't sleep that night. I kept replaying the footage, trying to come up with a plan. But really, I just felt like I was sinking into some dark pit of betrayal and rage. I was furious at her, obviously, but I was also hurt. Hurt in a way I couldn't quite explain. Like I was fighting to stay upright, fighting to hold onto the pieces of my life that I'd trusted to her. The thing is, Emily is the kind of woman who always has an excuse ready. When I finally got the guts to confront her, she didn't even try to deny it right away. Instead, she spun some bullshit about how I was overreacting, that it was just a moment of weakness, and that it wasn't a big deal. She called me jealous and possessive, said I was imagining things, that I was crazy for even thinking it. That's her go-to move: deny, deflect, gaslight. She's good at it, but I knew better. I saw what I saw. I remember standing in the kitchen, my fists clenched, my head pounding from the shock, and her standing there with that smug look on her face, like she thought she'd won. That she'd somehow convinced me that she was innocent. But I wasn't buying it. No way. I'd already accepted that my safe space was gone, that the person I trusted most was betraying me in the worst way possible. And the worst part, I didn't even know what to feel anymore: anger, hurt, disgust. It was all mixed up, swirling inside me, making it impossible to think clearly. The thing is, I'd been working so hard to keep it together, to keep my trauma from controlling me, and now this. This betrayal felt like the final nail in the coffin. I'd always believed that honesty and trust were the foundation of any relationship, but Emily had just torn that apart in a matter of seconds. And Dr. Martin, the guy I'd looked up to for help, was just another piece of my shattered world. I kept asking myself, how did I let it get this far? How did I not see the signs? I was supposed to be the strong one, the soldier, but I felt more vulnerable than I ever had before. I knew I couldn't stay silent forever. I had to decide what to do, whether to confront her again or just cut my losses and walk away. But right then, all I wanted was to make her see how much she'd hurt me, how much she'd betrayed everything we had. I was angry, and I wanted her to know that she couldn't just lie her way out of this. I was done pretending everything was fine. I was ready to blow the whole thing open, no matter what it cost me. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My mind kept circling back to that footage, to her lies, to the way she looked at me last night like I was some paranoid idiot. I knew I had to do something. I couldn't just let it slide. This wasn't some petty argument. This was a full-blown betrayal that cut to the core of what I thought was our relationship. I decided I needed to get some facts straight before I confronted her again. I started digging through everything I could find: her texts, her emails, her social media. I knew I was borderline obsessive, but I didn't care. I had to see if there was more to this than just that night in the garage. Sure enough, I found more. Secret conversations late at night, messages loaded with flirtatious emojis, and even a few suggestive pictures. Each one made my stomach turn. It was clear she'd been seeing him behind my back for a while. Then I remembered a strange thing I'd noticed a few weeks ago. She'd been unusually secretive about her phone, and her schedule seemed to change day by day. She'd cancel plans suddenly, then make up some excuse about work or needing space. I'd asked her about it, but she'd just roll her eyes and tell me I was overthinking everything. But now I knew better. She'd been planning this for some time, hiding her tracks, lying to my face. That's when I decided I couldn't hold it in anymore. I needed to confront her face to face, but I wanted to do it on my terms. I knew she'd try to spin her way out of it, so I set a trap. I arranged to come home early that day, pretending I had a work emergency. I wanted to catch her in the act, or at least force her into a corner. When I got home, I found her in the living room, pretending to be innocent, that self-satisfied smirk still plastered on her face. I pulled out the evidence: screenshots of her texts, camera footage from our own house showing her sneaking out at night, and all the lies I'd uncovered. Her face froze for a second, then she started to get defensive. She tried her usual bullshit, saying I was paranoid, that I was imagining things, that I was jealous for no reason. But I wasn't having it. I told her I knew everything about the affair, about her lying, about her sneaking around with Dr. Martin. That's when she snapped. She started calling me insecure, accusing me of being crazy, and told me I was just trying to control her. She said it was just sex, that it didn't mean anything, that I was overreacting because I was insecure about my trauma. Her words hit me hard, because even as she was lying, I could see the venom behind her eyes, the way she was enjoying twisting everything around. It was like she was trying to make me the bad guy. But I could feel the cold fury rising up inside me. This wasn't just about her cheating. It was about the fact that she'd been willing to betray everything I believed in, and she was doing it with someone I'd trusted to help me heal. I felt a surge of anger, hot, uncontrollable. I wanted to shake her, scream at her, tell her how much she'd hurt me, but I also felt a strange sense of numbness, like I was already halfway out the door emotionally. I realized I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I told her to get out, that I needed space to think. She threw a fit, calling me crazy, saying I was overreacting again. But I didn't care. I just wanted her gone, out of my house, out of my life, if that's what it took. That confrontation was the turning point. I knew I couldn't stay with her anymore. Not after everything I'd seen, everything I'd found out. I had to decide whether to fight for this relationship or cut ties completely. And honestly, part of me was already done. I'd spent years trying to fix my trauma, trying to be strong for myself. But now I had to face the brutal reality that the woman I loved was the one who'd shattered my trust, right when I needed her most. That realization made me feel more alone than I ever had before. After she finally left, I sat alone in the silence of the house, feeling like I'd just been through a war I didn't sign up for. The apartment was dead silent, except for my own breathing and the faint hum of the city outside. I kept going back to that footage, to all the lies she'd told, and to the lingering image of her smug face when I confronted her. It was like everything I thought I knew about my life, myself, and her had been turned upside down in a matter of hours. The shock wasn't just that she was cheating, although that was bad enough. It was that I'd trusted her so blindly. I'd opened up about my trauma, my nightmares, my fears, and she had used all of that against me behind my back in some sick game. I kept asking myself, how could she be so callous? How could she pretend to care about me, about my pain, and then betray me like that? It felt like a punch to the gut every time I thought about it. I've always been a practical guy. I don't do drama well, and I don't like to dwell on the past. But now I couldn't stop replaying everything in my head. The night she'd disappear, her defensive attitude, the way she lied so effortlessly whenever I asked about her whereabouts. And the worst part, I knew she'd probably try to come back, act like everything was fine, like it was all just a misunderstanding. But I wasn't naive anymore. I knew her tricks. In the days that followed, I went back and forth. Part of me wanted to call her, yell at her, demand answers. Part of me wanted to just forget everything and move on. But a bigger part knew I needed to think clearly. I needed to understand what this meant for me. I started thinking about everything I'd been through, combat, losing friends, the nightmares, and how I'd fought so hard to keep myself together. And now this, it felt like the final blow. I also reached out to a few friends, some who knew about my trauma and others who just knew me well. I needed their perspective. One guy, Dave, told me I deserved better, that I should cut her loose and focus on myself. A woman I know, Lisa, said I should consider legal action if I needed to protect myself, if she'd crossed boundaries, entered our home after hours, and lied to my face. That was serious. I appreciated their honesty, but honestly, the idea of fighting her in court or dragging all this out felt exhausting. I just wanted peace. That night I sat in my favorite chair, trying to process everything, and I remembered something I'd read once. Trauma exposes you, but it also teaches you. I guess that's true. I never wanted to find myself in a situation like this, but I also couldn't ignore the lessons. Trust, once broken, isn't easily repaired. Maybe it's better to just accept that some wounds are too deep, that some betrayals cut too hard. I made a conscious decision to start focusing on myself. Therapy helped, yeah. I started seeing someone to talk through everything, to help me process the betrayal, the anger, the heartbreak. I realized I couldn't change what she did, but I could change how I responded to it. I stopped reaching out for closure and started thinking more about what I needed to heal. The truth is, I'm still hurting, still angry, but I'm also starting to accept that I'm better off alone than with someone who would do this to me. So, I guess the biggest lesson I've learned is trust is fragile. It takes years to build and seconds to destroy. And if someone shows you who they really are, believe them. No matter how much you want to see the good, sometimes it's just not there. I can't fix what she broke, but I can choose to rebuild myself. That's what I'm doing now. One day at a time. It's been a few weeks now since she left, and honestly, I don't know what I expected. Maybe a wave of relief, maybe anger that finally boiled over. But what I've mostly felt is this numb kind of emptiness. Like I'm here, but I'm not really here. My mind keeps drifting back. To those nights, to the look in her eyes when she lied to me, and to the moments I was too blind to see the truth. It's like I was living in some fucked up nightmare and I only just woke up. I've been trying to piece my life back together piece by piece. I started packing away things that reminded me of her, photos, little mementos. It's not much, but it's something. I can't keep living in the past, dwelling on what went wrong. I've been focusing on my job, trying to throw myself into work, and on my therapy sessions. Honestly, talking to someone who's independent from all of this has been a huge help. It's not just about processing the betrayal, but also rebuilding my confidence, my sense of trust in myself. One thing I realize now, I was so caught up in trying to be the strong soldier that I forgot to be honest with myself. I kept telling myself she was just stressed or that everything could be fixed. But deep down, I knew this was more than just a rough patch. It was a fucking earthquake, and I was standing there beneath the rubble trying to figure out what was left of me. I've also set some boundaries, trying to protect myself from falling into old patterns. I don't want to get into any new relationships right now. I need time to heal, to really understand what I want and what I don't. I've realized that I was too accommodating before, too willing to ignore the red flags because I loved her or thought I did. Now I'm more cautious. I'm not rushing into anything. I know I need to rebuild my sense of trust, not just in others but in myself. And here's the truth: I feel angry, not just at her but at myself, at how I let her manipulate me, how I ignored the signs that were right there in front of me. I keep asking myself, how did I miss this? How did I let someone who was supposed to be my partner betray me so deeply? The anger is a strange thing. It's like this fire that I don't want to feed but also can't totally extinguish. I know I need to learn to live with it, to channel it into something that helps me move forward. Some days I think about reaching out trying to get answers, but I know that won't help. She's gone and she's not coming back. Whatever her reasons, whatever stories she tells herself, that's her problem now. I have to focus on me. I've started working out again, trying to regain some semblance of control over my body and mind. It's a small thing, but it helps. I'm trying to be kind to myself, even if that's hard some days. The biggest lesson I've learned so far is that betrayal changes everything, but it also forces you to confront your own resilience. I thought I was unbreakable, but I was just pretending. Now I know that it's okay to be broken for a little while. The important part is that I pick up the pieces and learn to live with them. I don't know what the future holds, and honestly, I'm afraid to find out. But I do know I can't keep hiding behind my trauma forever. I have to face what's been broken, rebuild what I can, and learn to trust myself again. That's what I owe to myself now. Looking back now, I realize that this whole experience has changed me in ways I did expect. Betrayal like that, so raw, so personal, shakes your foundation to the core. It's like suddenly waking up from a nightmare, only to find parts of yourself bleeding and broken on the floor. I guess what I've learned most is that trust is fragile, and sometimes the people we count on the most are the ones who can hurt us the deepest. But amidst all the pain, I also found a strange sense of clarity. It's like finally seeing things for what they really are. Emily was never the person I thought she was, and her betrayal revealed her true colors. I can't change what she did, but I can decide how I respond. I've chosen to focus on healing, mental, emotional, physical. I've learned to listen to myself, to accept that it's okay to feel angry and hurt, but not to let those feelings control me. I've come to accept that not everyone is trustworthy, and that sometimes love isn't enough to keep someone committed. Sometimes you have to walk away and rebuild your life on your own terms. That's what I'm doing now, building a new life, one that doesn't include her, one where I put my own well-being first. I still have scars, and maybe I always will, but they're part of my story now. They remind me that I survived, that I'm stronger than I ever gave myself credit for. If there's one thing I want others to take away from this, it's that you can't control what other people do, but you can control how you respond. Don't let betrayal define you. Find your strength even when it feels like all is lost. Seek help if you need it: therapy, friends, anyone who can support you. And most importantly, trust yourself. Trust your instincts, your feelings, your boundaries. Because no matter how much someone lies or cheats, the truth always comes out in the end. I'm still healing, still figuring out what's next, but I know this: life will go on, and I will go on with it, wiser and more cautious than before. I'll carry the scars, but I won't let them hold me back. I will rebuild piece by piece, and I'll do it without her, because I deserve that much. I've learned that the hard way. And to anyone else going through this kind of pain, know that you're not alone. It hurts, it stings, and it's unfair. But it also teaches you who you are and what you're capable of. Keep fighting, keep healing, and never forget your worth isn't defined by someone else's betrayal. You are enough just as you are.